Don't panic, don't panic. The thing that they said was gonna happen has actually happened. No, but honestly, it would have been weird to keep hearing all the characters talking about martial law and it didn't come to pass. It's like if we got all the information about the threats on the Dark Continent and then never got to see it for ourselves. Also, let me point out that for this review, I kind of had to bend space and time a little bit to get a good translation. So if things don't seem completely accurate, forgive me, but I definitely tried. But before we get into the card game again, let's take a moment to consider the cause. Benjamin said that he wouldn't start that procedure lightly. In other words, it would have been a threat to national security. So considering a bunch of princes already died in the succession war and he didn't care, it has to be something bigger. Many fans are thinking it has to do with the princes connected to mafia families because an assassination on one of them would mean their delicate balance of peace shattered. And to avoid a war between them, Benjamin would use martial law. But the other thing to consider is we haven't seen or heard from Melody or Kurapika in a while. We don't even know how long Borkson has been with the Hail Lee. So it's possible they completed their plan to kill Lazarus, and his body was found, which triggered this whole incident. But until we go back to the other characters, we can't really say for sure. However, my bet is on it having something to do with Balkenberg's body swapping having gone wrong. Anyway, all the members of the Hail Lee look kind of stunned by the sudden announcement, with good reason. They rely on movement to be able to grow as Nen users, and now they won't be able to go around or kill as much as they're used to. On the other hand, people in the 5th tier, the lowest and below the disposal area, can just go about their business as usual. It mainly affects the circulation between the upper tiers for their security. What do they care about the peasants in the bottom, right? Even the 4th tier has been cut off from the upper ones, but they make it sound like whatever happened was somewhere from the 3rd or higher. And while Morena is considering how to proceed, Borkson just announces that she wants the deal card next, surprising Morena with how calm and focused she is considering the situation. The guards did say anyone moving around without permission would be shot down for threatening the safety of the Cock and Royals. Meanwhile, the people on the 2nd tier are told to take off all of their belongings and wait in their rooms. And Borkin sees the chaos and panic caused by martial law as a way for her to escape this dire situation. But she also considers that if she gets caught between the Hail Lee and the guards, she could be shot or tortured for a long period of time, and that's just for being in their hideout. Oh, and as a reminder, the deal card means Morena can ask for Borkson to do something in exchange for her to get a card that was put in the graveyard earlier. And what Morena asks is for a kiss. Now, I know the shippers are going wild, but it's deeper than that. Morena's Nen ability functions through a kiss, and she had to give one to each member of the Hail Lee to activate their Nen. In this case, she asks for a deep kiss with tongue, though, and insists that 2 other conditions would need to be met for Borkson to join her, so she doesn't need to worry. The others are saying yes, and witnessing a murder from her or another member. I think it's important to keep that last point in mind for later. Anyway, the hectic announcements are still going on, with the 1st tier guests being told to just sit tight. A very drastic shift from what the other levels are being told. And Borkson has already put together that Morena is considered adjacent to the Royals. So she has 1st class accommodation already, which would make it hard for Borkson to just run away. But there's also the possibility that Morena has hacked into the announcement system so that she can hear everything, or that this martial law is just a scheme of hers as well. But Borkson can't figure out any of these things if she doesn't let Morena kiss her first. So for anyone expecting a panel, Togashi decided not to show it. Somehow Morena is blushing even worse after the kiss than before. And it's because she realized that she took Borkson's first kiss from her. And then, because she won't tell Borkson how she figured that out, she just causes her to be flustered and want to go on with the game. I don't blame her. Most of the time, it's inexperience that tells you that kind of information. In other words, she probably wasn't great at, French kissing. But anyway, she takes the X card back into the game, seeing as it's the only one that's not a direct no, but allows Borkson to leave without expecting retaliation from their gang. But Borkson does something interesting when she gets the card. She asks to investigate the 3 of the remaining ones. She says it's because she wasn't paying attention during their kiss, so she wants to be sure that they weren't tampered with. That's a fair request, but at the same time, Borkson is very clever. So, there's a theory going around that she actually tampers with the 3 cards while she's checking them, by leaving marks on the edge with a nail or something else. And Morena goes off on a rant about how not being trusted hurts her feelings, especially since she agreed not to cheat in the game. But after Morena whines that they just shared an intimate kiss so she wouldn't need to verify the cards, Borkson gets her way and sees that they are in fact the same. So as before, Ararj shuffles what's left and they continue. Borkson picks the X again, landing it back in the graveyard. So on her turn, Borkson chooses the QA card because she can ask a number of questions and try to get as much information as she can, even if it takes longer to get there. And with that, the speed round begins. Borkson asks about what level the hideout is on, having to go through all of them just to find out it's on none of the tiers. But it is within the Black Whale. Seems like it might be in that secret space where the troop had passed with the Cha-R guy from a few chapters ago. You know, that weird looking staircase. To be sure, Borkson asks if she's lying, which she denies. So, with no other hint, Borkson asks if it was created through a Nen ability, and if it's between tiers, which it is. She's very good at deducing stuff with not much to work with. And with just that, Borkson realizes that the Hail Lee, or Morena, intended to have the hideout in that spot since the creation of the ship. Then she asks about entrances and exits, and if people in the other tiers can access this area as well. It takes longer to get the answers because Morena doesn't want to give false information and accidentally lie. Then Borkson pushes to find out exact information on her allies, since she knows that they're less than 25. But it turns out there are now 21 people left, after some were taken out, of course. Despite being more of an enemy than a friend, Borkson promises not to share any of this information when she finishes the game. Likewise, Morena promised that she would leave her and her companions alone. But considering the agreement that she had with Saridanik's classmates, they might not trust her anymore when she returns. But no matter what, ending with a no card is the worst outcome. Because then, she would die. And no way to use anything she's learned. And seeing as she's learning about her and the other members' Nen types, it would be a waste to go out that way. Finally reaching the last question, Borkson feels she's learned a lot about the Hail Lee and the Kaken Empire, and wonders if Morena would ever change her mind. I thought it was clear that she wasn't that kind of person. She might miss some people or feel sad for a person she has to kill, but it won't stop her from moving forward. In that sense, she's like Crollo and the troop, which they said before too. Borkson likely wonders if getting rid of the Kaken Empire and their cruelty that birthed Morena would be enough in the future, but it sounds like it wouldn't be. Borkson looks disappointed, as if she hoped she could have convinced Morena to be less all or nothing with her objective. But the game goes on, with no and return left. Borkson has to choose which card goes to the graveyard, and it's the no. Borkson then asks to flip both remaining cards over at once because one means her death, and the other means that she can get the X card back and leave as if nothing happened. They count down from 3 together, with the big reveal being that the return card is safe. Borkson's relief seems palpable. But this win, and her confident string of questions, is what led some fans to believe that Borkson knew she was going to get the return card in the end, through whatever scratch or bend she left on the card. Also, the fact that she squeezes the card so tightly that she mashes it together and apologizes for that, it could have been a sneaky way to hide whatever evidence of her tampering was on it. And as everyone is leaving, planning to let Borkson go her way as planned, she grabs her chosen card, and Morena is shocked. Instead of X, she confidently chose yes. And there's a few reasons for this. One, she's one of those crazy people who thinks, I could fix her, which is why she kept asking if Morena would change her decision about killing everyone. Or she figured the best way to convince her would be to be within the family, forming a bond with them and her, and at the same time gain Nen and enhance her skills. But she could also be planning to take out the other Hail Lee members and gain levels and power in that way. Or maybe all of the above. There's also a small part of me that thinks the kiss she shared with Morena caused something we don't know yet, too. Like indirect manipulation through Nen or, something like that. All I can say is the plot could not get any thicker, and I cannot wait for the next chapter. Let me know what you thought about this chapter in the comments below, guys. And if you liked it, please subscribe. Gonna keep reviewing these chapters as long as they are released, so look out for that. and have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.